Hello, welcome, Cavenshire. In War of the Visions, let's do a level 99 review of Dario Hourne. And this was a character that I wanted to get in global even before it was released because I really liked how he looked and was going to work when I saw him in JP, but I skipped him there because I had enough tanks in my JP account. But here in my global account, he might be my main tank for a while. But what an interesting character. I'll talk about him more in future story recap videos. But he is the son of Rob, brother of Mashiri, and he is holed up in Hourne Castle. The rumors going around are that he is weak and afraid of battle, but actually he's super powerful and his internment is his own choice in order to protect everyone else. So that's already really interesting, but he's also involved in the only love story that's any good in the game, and that's between him and Vineta. An arranged marriage that was a front for an assassination attempt that turned into true love. And I've seen some love for him on Reddit as well. He's gotten some fan art done of him, so yeah, hopefully we see more of him in the future of the story. But if you look at the MR tier rankings on the Ultima or Game 8, Dario is considered the top MR tank, and I agree with that. And a lot of that has to do with him being able to take both physical and magic damage. Even including URs, there are few tanks that can take magic damage, so they're all special. And then tanks that can take both equally well, I guess would be like Warrior of Light, Augrius, and then Dario here, so he's in good company. If you missed either of those two limited time tanks, and you wanted a tank anything unit, I can highly recommend Dario to you. For Faith, for this video, I'm building him to 70, which has upsides and downsides. He will do more damage with his magic scaled attacks, and his status effects attacks will be more likely to go off. But the downside is that he will take more damage from magic attacks, and for a magic tank that is not ideal. But as we shall see, he can still tank surprisingly well even with that high faith. If you saw a recent Global Arena video that I did, he took a limit break from Mediana, and it did low 3-digit damage. That was very shocking. However, if you only plan on using him to tank physical, then you can raise his faith to 97 if you like, and then get the extra benefits from all that other stuff. But with his faith high or low, you can use him for different things, so it's something to think about before you bring him into battle. And what I was most curious to learn about was his ability to tank Mediana. That arena video that I just mentioned, in that video Dario did have the 30 faith and he got very little damage from the limit break. But I did some testing with a faith 70 Dario, and still Mediana cannot one-punch him. Not with Blizzard, not with Flare, not with limit break. So if he can tank Mediana, he can tank really any magic user in the game. And that was even without the Fenrir card, which is not released yet. But with the Fenrir card maxed on him, I'm confident he could go Faith 97, still not be one-punched by Mediana. And so you might want to consider making his Faith 50 or even 70. It might be the difference between being 3 hits from Mediana versus 6 hits or something, but if you can live with that in your tank, then yeah, you might want to raise his Faith. And then Dario, he gets compared to Rain a lot because they're kind of released around the same time. Dario is the better overall tank than Rain, and it's just because he can tank both physical and magic. But Rain with his sword is going to be the better damage source and chainer, so it's worth having both actually, and that's what I hope to do with this global account. Alright, but let's look at his jobs. Main job Spellblade, sub-jobs Ninja and Paladin. And then let's go to the board. But with higher faith, his Spellblade attacks will do more damage. And I'm going to try to explain this, hopefully I get it right. If I get it wrong, let me know in the comments. But we see this purple thing here. That is a magic scaled attack. So any attack that we see with this, it will base the damage off the caster's magic stat. That also says that here. So that's like the input from Dario. But the output is this symbol here on the right. This is a slash attack, which means it's a physical attack, and then wind element for being the green color. So it's scaling off of his magic value, but when it comes out and it does damage people, it will do physical attacks. So people with like high magic resistance, they won't get any special benefits here, but somebody with high slash resistance will take less damage from this attack. But again, with higher magic and then also higher faith, his Spellblade attacks will do more damage. And then also his status effects attacks will have a greater chance to go off. So we see Bioblade here, Silence Blade, and then his other jobs actually have other status effects, so you'll always get some use out of that. But Silence is great. This can be really good against healers. You can stop them from casting Heal. You could possibly silence Mediana if you could get close enough to her. And then Bio, this is good against other tanks, who maybe you wouldn't be able to damage otherwise. You could do this kind of a set value damage against them. But being a magic tank, he can take the magic attacks well, and then when he's attacking, he's doing the slash attacks, which most magic users are not strong to, so that's nice synergy there. His greatest damage potential is probably going to come from his Earth Slayer that are in the Arrow and Aroga Blade. The short range on these two attacks is not a big deal for him, since he wants to get close anyway, being a tank. And so when we think about Earth element targets, you got Mont, Kirufe, and Eileen. And they're all kind of short range units as well, so it wouldn't be funny to get close to them. Kirufe is probably the most interesting to consider, since she is on top of the meta at the moment, and doesn't have a hard counter yet. Orudoa is a soft counter, I would say, with her Drain Force, and Lucy is pretty good. But it won't be until Howlet and then Swimsuit Kiton that we get some easier to use counters. The problem with Kirufe is that she has decent slash resistance as well as magic resistance, so we shouldn't expect Dario to one-punch Kirufe, but he can still do some okay damage on her. Also, Dario can't get his magic value as high as, say, Mariaru or Fravia or Irudira. Zero of his support abilities or TP skills raise those. He has all defensive stuff, so that's something to keep in mind. But for non-Earth element opponents, Attract Spell and then Silence Blade and Chicken Blade are surprisingly damaging. These are also slash attacks, but scaled off his magic value. And then any sword that will raise his magic will be helpful for him, but also with his other sub-jobs, maybe you would want some attack as well. But we can look at the Spellblade sub-job. Here he has a Resist Magic. This will protect you against magic attacks. And then Taunting Spell. This is his Hate Generation skill. And then also maybe his longest range attack, so this can be pretty useful. But I am very interested in his sub-jobs. For one thing, he has Ninja. And Ninja's great for movement, so if you had this on him, he might be the best moving tank in the game. But he has Hide. I don't know if you want to use that on your tank. But Poison Mist, you can poison guys around you and then move those spaces. And then he also has the support abilities, which we'll look at later. Here's a Decider of Fate. This is the one kind of attack-oriented self-buff that he has, but as we can see, it doesn't raise either his attack or his magic. But Shadowbind, this is another chance to take advantage of High Faith to get a status effect out. And then Shuriken, I don't know if you really want to use this, maybe to close the gap, but I think you'd be better off just using a self-buff to raise your defenses. But Futon, this is interesting because it has no attack type, so you can just cut through like any kind of resistance, so this would be a very effective attack against somebody like Whisper. But again, his attack value is not going to be super high. And then we can look at Paladin, which is one of my favorite jobs. We have Blade Bash for stun. This is another status effect attack. Taunting Blade, this can give him another alternate way to raise hate. Divine Grace, never use that. Sentinel and Saintly Wall, I love these skills. These are the reasons why I use the Paladin subjob on like Miranda and stuff. But Sentinel, 1 turn, big buff, and then Saintly Wall, 3 barrier shots for a little bit of a buff. But yeah, with access to both Spellblade and Paladin, and I think he's still the only character in the game with access to both of them, he can really, you know, build himself for either physical or magic, or both, possibly. Okay, let's talk about his support abilities. He has Shukuchi, move and jump +1 from Ninja. Also Shadow Runner, raises agility and luck. This will make him faster and more evadey. Both of these two stats will raise his evade. And then Holy Knight's Protection from Paladin. This will raise HP and defense, that's very nice. And then Providence of Earth, raise magic and earth resistance. This is kind of key to him if you want to use him as a magic tank. Oh, and I did want to say that he has higher base HP than either Mont or Nausea, so he has that going for him. But let's equip the two ones that raise his resistances. And then we can look at his stats here. So defense 26, that's very nice. Spirit 10, that's okay. And then resistances are not super high for him. You compare it to like Engelbert, who has like 30 for some of these resistances. Even Mont has higher resistances to like strike. So playing Dario with a resistance build, I don't know if that would be the best way to use him. I've said this in previous videos, but a resistance of 15 I think is a good starting point. So you could build him for magic resistance maybe. But even with everything that we have in JP, you could still only add like, I think 45, 50 more magic resistance, so he would only get up to 67. I say only, but that's still really, really good. But if it comes to the point where you're like using all of your equipment and like vision card and esper spaces just for that magic resistance, then you might be sacrificing too much. So in Dario's case, maybe I would recommend to work on his defense or spirit instead, and then maybe elemental resistances, but you can experiment with that and see what works with your account. Okay, and then for reaction skills, you can use Paladin's Guard if you wanted to guard against physical, Magic Guard if you wanted to guard against magic, and then Poison Barb, this is another anti-tank possibility here. And Master Ability, Defense and Spirit +10, that's great. And then let's go back, let's look at his Trust Master. This is very nice for him, of course. Attack 60, that's okay, that'll help him a little bit with like Futon or Attract Blade. And then Magic over 100, that's very nice. And then the bonus ability here is gain AP up 30%. This will work with his regular attacks and his TP skills. Recently they added a feature in JP where you can see, especially the MR Trust Masters, if those bonus abilities will work on only normal attacks or more attacks, and then this will work with more, so that's very nice. He has kind of low TP and AP values anyway, so that's helpful for him. Okay, let's go to the formation screen. Let's talk about what he can equip. Here, Armor of Light, this is one of the best things for him. Hopefully you got that in the Final Fantasy I collaboration. But I got the Barrier type, Spirit +12, and then Magic Resistance +8. That'll be great for him. And then a nice HP value as well. You could possibly make him evadey. You could give him the Mithril Armor. If you wanted to tank physical, you could use the Golden Armor or Iron Plate. His projectile resistance was so-so, 10, so you could give him a helmet if you wanted to go against specifically those people. And then I have a Sortilege on him. Both types, the Barrier and the Shield, are very, very nice for him. You get some nice defense and spirit values in there. Him being Wind Element means that he is weak to ice units, which is too bad, since there are many strong ice units. But you could cover for that by using the Ifrit or the Balm Esper. Or you could use the Shiva Vision card, that will give you some ice resistance. And then this is a nice choice for him because it raises his magic a bit, and then also evasion, so you could maybe put Dario onto a evade team. That would be another good chance to use Mithril Armor. Another good vision card, of course, could be Vow of Love. He does have a lot of slash attacks, so that will work there. For Espers, you could give him Golem for more defense, or Titan later for more spirit. For other Trust Masters, you could give him Mons for more defense and spirit. For the Vision card, you could give him this guy for more defense. Or Leonis Castle for both defense and spirit. This one's pretty good for him. If you wanted to use him for attack, though, particularly with his arrow or arrow blade, then Marlborough would be really interesting. If we look at the board here, we can see both Earth Eater and then also magic resistance. So if you're going specifically against Kirufe, you could equip both of those and then kind of become a mini Kirufe Slayer. And then again with Dario, since maybe we care more about like base stats, HP, defense, and spirit, more than we do resistances, maybe you wouldn't have to worry so much about making plus versions of armor. And so something like the Platinum Armor, where it's very, very hard to get even one, that might be more attractive to Dario than, say, like Sasayaki, who does want the plus value armors. Okay, so that was a look at Dario. I'm pretty impressed with him, and I think I'm going to get a lot of use out of him. If you also have stories about using Dario, I'd love to hear them. You can leave them in the comments. Alright, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.